Hello, Miss Guardino. This is Robert Edick, and this is my YouTube video. My paper was on Thomas Paine's Common Sense. There's a little picture of Thomas Paine himself, and a famous quote by him. So a little bit about my primary source of my paper. Again, it was about the pamphlet Common Sense. The writing process for me was a little bit difficult because I had to think analytically versus an open-minded style of thinking. Me personally, I have not been in school for 18 years, and the workforce kind of gets me to be a little bit more open-minded and listen to others' needs versus challenging or really delving into and picking apart what the customer, the other person is saying. My development of supporting points and minor thesis. I was kind of concerned about it only being 10 pages for the primary source. Common Sense has 65 pages of lots of information to kind of give me a great primary source. For me personally, it was difficult to grasp the minor concept or the concept of a minor thesis. Arguments pretty much just are my forte. The first course I have taken that has actually asked me for a minor thesis, this is my first semester attending a university setting or college setting. The hardships, again, were pretty much secondary sources that were from that time period that seemed to be either almost non-existent or pretty much badgering Thomas Paine for his outlook, his hardship, I guess you can call it, of not really feeling what the majority of the people had felt. I learned basically that no matter how credible the person is, how famous they are, or even uncredited by the loyalists kind of badgering Thomas Paine, once the idea is published, majority of the people or people that feel oppressed in this particular situation seem to be biased towards the actual publisher. The publisher, being Thomas Paine, spoke about the hardships but never really felt the hardship. He kind of sat in taverns and listened to people gripe about what was going on and how they were not liking the situation, being unfairly taxed, so on and so forth. So right now, I don't really love nor hate my primary source. I just wish there was more pages allowed in the actual project itself to be examined. It would have given me a broader argument basis for Thomas Paine, and if he pretty much made a great argument, whether it be religious or tyranny against the government who was unfairly treating their people. So the skills I've learned in this particular course, the difference between a primary and a secondary source. I knew there was a lot of information out there about certain topics, but now I know what a primary and a secondary source is and basically how to analyze each one of them. Going back to the whole bias thing, people who had it out for Thomas Paine, so to speak, kind of just ripping him apart and being able to analyze something like that versus a credible secondary source. History is an interpretation of what others have claimed to have witnessed. It can't always be trusted. It's just one person's storytelling, so to speak, on a particular situation they've encountered. What felt good about going into my paper? So I felt the primary source was a good source until I found out that there weren't too many secondary sources to oppose Paine's idea and thesis. It almost seemed non-existent at that time, and because Common Paine was published, and the American Revolution happened so quickly within less than a year after Thomas Paine's Common Sense came out. The Patriots kind of rose up and kind of overthrew the Loyalists, so without really them putting up a fight. And that concludes my YouTube presentation of my primary source.